I don't know much, but I know a little something about being on this earth for as long as I have and experiencing things that I've experienced. I'm not married, never been legally married. Haven't been in a long-term relationship in many, many years. I have a couple of flings every 2 or 3 years. The last fling I had was 2 years ago. I had to cut the situation completely off because the guy was selfish, self-centered, and very, very disrespectful. Very disrespectful. And that's something that I cannot and will not tolerate. So I came here to say this. I've been on the phone with I will say a friend. And she's younger than me. She's in her 30s. And she's going through some stuff with her man. And she called me to get advice, and I gave her advice. And as usual, when I give advice, people want my advice. They love talking to me. But then when I actually give them advice, they get mad or they get frustrated with me. And who takes my advice? Nobody. We know as women, speaking from obviously a woman's perspective, we know deep down inside, our spidey sense tells us when something ain't right. Period. We make excuses when our hearts are involved and our vaginas are involved. We tell ourselves one thing, even when that little tingly spidey sense goes off and tells us what it really is. Don't ignore your spidey sense. You're not wrong. That's the first thing I told her. But he said, then he came home and then he did this and then he did that. All right. How many times have we been through this? Anyway, second thing I want to say. When you meet a person, male or female, this goes both ways. Guys, if you meet a woman and she wants money and she needs help with her bills and she lets you know basically you cannot date her unless you help her. Unless you just want to have sex and you want to do an even exchange. I'll pay you, you give me sex or suck my whatever. Unless you want that type of arrangement, understand when a man or a woman asks you for stuff, favors, money, things, in return for their company and their time and their time and their energy. If a man asks you, ladies, to prove yourself, okay, go ahead. He ain't the one. He's not marriage material. I don't care how long you put up with it. When a man meets you and asks you to prove yourself and wants you to buy him this and to do that and to serve him and to prove to him that you're a good woman, OMG. Boy, oh boy, if your ass don't turn and run the other way, you's a damn fool. Period. A fool with very low self-esteem. I'll tell you something else. I don't care how you spin it and rationalize it. Guys, same thing. If a woman or a young lady wants you to jump through hoops to prove she is using you. Now, she might use you for a day, a week, a month. She might use you for years. Y'all might get married and she might use you for the next 20 years, but she's using you. Same thing, ladies. I don't care how good the sex is. I don't care who this man is. I don't care what he tells you. I don't care what he says. I don't care if once in a while he does do something nice for you. If a man, not a bisexual, not a homosexual, not a metrosexual, if a man, a straight man, sits back and lets you do all the work and throws you crumbs and tells you, well, you don't love me if you don't give me this and do this and I'm down and out. Damn, you can't help a brother? Baby. Go ahead, waste your time. I'm just a hater. Waste your time. 2 + 2 = 4. It's math. It's mathematics. No matter what you try to do in this universe to change, 2 + 2 is always going to equal 4. There are certain things that I have learned, and there are certain things that guarantee certain results. Certain formulas is what I'm trying to say. Guarantees certain results. If you meet a man and he starts using you, no matter how you spin it, once I prove myself, once I'm going to show him I'm a good woman. And then once he sees that, you're playing yourself. A man leaves you. A man like that walks away from you and leaves you. Plays his little psychological manipulation game. He comes back. You know what a low self-esteem, desperate woman tells herself? I told this to my little friend. And I said, don't feel bad because old women do it too. Young women do this and older women do this. I said, oh, but he came back. He loves me because he realized. I said, no. He realizes that you're a fool. And he realizes that no matter what he does, you are going to be his fool. That's the only thing he realizes, sweetie. He doesn't realize that you're a good woman. He knows you're a good woman, but you're not the woman that he really wants. But hey, if I don't have to buy the cow and I could just keep getting milk, I'm going to keep milking the fucking cow. What the fuck? No, he loves me. He realizes he loves me. Oh my God. Sometimes I just have to stop and just listen because it's like, okay, I'm not getting through to this little girl, this young woman. There are certain things, no matter how, you could waste days, you could waste months, you could waste years. It's up to you. I told her, but sweetie, he's not the one. I don't care if you have a baby by him. He's not the one. If you want a toxic relationship, stay with him. He's not going to, he's going to keep coming back. Of course. Of course. Why wouldn't he keep coming back? What the fuck? He ain't got to work for it. All you got to do is do a little something every now and then to get you thinking, oh, he loves me. Baby, he's using you, he's playing you, and it's going to continue. Now, do you want it to continue into your 40s? Do you want it to continue into your 50s? Or do you want to nip it in the bud? And she believes in God. And ask God to send you somebody that's not toxic. Because if you want him, you can have him whenever he feels like it. Whenever he feels like it. If you want a toxic relationships are so easy to come by. So easy to come by. And if that's what you want to deal with, by all means, deal with it. But don't come wasting my time. You want some real advice? I'm going to give it to you. Leave the man alone. If he's taking care of his son, fine. If he's not, take him to child support. But if he's taking care of him voluntarily, let him do that. Don't bring the courts in unless you have to, I told her. And I said, the bottom line is, this man is not going to change. This is who he is. What you see is what you get. And you better pray another woman doesn't come along that he actually does really fall in love with, because then you're going to get tossed to the side like an old fucking newspaper. Like yesterday's news. Like an old worn out shoe. And she didn't want to hear that, but that's the bottom line. When you meet a woman or a man and the red flags are right, they're waving the red flags in your stupid ass face. Don't ignore them.